ಕೊಡು. ಲೈವ್ ಚಾಟ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೇನು ಅಲ್ಲ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಆಗಲಿ ಬಿಡು. ಈಗ ಚಲೋ ಆಗ್ಯದ. ಹಾಂ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ 10 ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ Cbse ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ Icse ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಗೆ ಬನ್ನಿ. ಇಂದಿನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸಗಳನ್ನು ಏಕಾಗ್ರಚಿತ್ತದಿಂದ ಶಾಂತ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿ ಮುಗಿಸುವ ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲು, ಕಲಿತ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಜ್ಞಾಪಕದಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲು, ಜ್ಞಾಪಕದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬರೆಯುವ ಬುದ್ಧಿಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲು ಇಷ್ಟ ದೇವರಿಗೆ, ಗುರು ಹಿರಿಯರಿಗೆ, ಕುಲದೇವರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆಯನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸೋಣ. Yes, good evening, my dear students. Welcome you all to Lobji channel powered by Vidim's app. Technically powered by Vidim's app. Myself, your Desai sir. Today, we are continuing with the language of chemistry. Right? In the last class, we studied about the first. Once again, I will come back to the chemical classification of the matter we are discussing. And said that matter is classified chemically into 3 types. One is element, and these elements are represented by symbol. This is the first part of the language of chemistry, which is alphabet. That generally elements are represented by symbols we are discussing, right? I hope you made at least first 30 elements up to zinc perfect. Okay, and second part is compound. Classification of the matter into compounds, elements, compounds and mixtures. Now in the periodic table you will find elements. First 30 elements I think you have made it perfect, right? In the periodic table, now randomly try to answer. I am writing randomly. What is the symbol Cr stands for? Cr is chromium. Chromium. I will randomly ask you, go on writing. What C stands for? What CO stands for? What Al stands for? What Sc stands for? If you have made it perfect, what is Zn? What is Cu? What is the symbol Ag stands for? Au stands for? Cr is chromium, C is carbon, Co is cobalt, Ag is silver, Au is gold, Al is aluminium, scandium, V stands for vanadium, Zn zinc, copper, Fe stands for iron, Ni stands for nickel. From 1 to 30 you make it perfect. What N stands for? Nitrogen. What Li stands for? Lithium. What Mg stands for? Magnesium. What Ba stands for? Barium. What Ca stands for? Calcium. Randomly. Given the name of an element, you must be in a position to write the symbol. Given the symbol, you must be in a position to write the correct name of it. Is the first part. These are alphabets in chemistry. They are available in a periodic table. First you make it perfect. First step, first part, alphabets in chemistry is making these symbols correct, and method of writing. See, yesterday I told you, if you write C and O, both of them capital, it becomes a compound carbon monoxide. If you write C capital, O small, it becomes what? It becomes cobalt. This becomes element, this is a compound. And these particular symbols, I think many of you have made it perfect. Even I have sent you a study material. In that also, they are available in the periodic table. First part, I hope by this time you are perfect. Let me move on to the second part of it. What a compound is. Clear? Let us see what a compound is. So today there may be some technical problems. There is no power due to the rain. Till it runs, I will continue the class. If it is incomplete, I will continue the next class. Please cooperate. Sorry for the inconvenience. There is no power here. Your inverter is also discharging almost. And as long as it supports, inverter supports, I will continue today class. Otherwise, if it is the class is incomplete, I will continue the same class in the next period. Okay? Okay, fine. So let us come to the compounds. My dear students, what a compound is. Writing the formula of the compound, before that you have to understand compound, how to define a compound. Generally, elements in the periodic table. The elements in the periodic table, there are totally 110 elements, right? You will be for Cbse, periodic table is introduced. For Icse, already periodic table chapter is there. For state syllabus, it is may be introduced or may not be introduced. This is the periodic table. So totally there are 118 elements in the periodic table available everywhere. At least 30 elements you make them by heart. So all these elements, now the basic question is, will have a capacity to combine, right? They have a tendency. What is the reason? They will form compounds by undergoing chemical combination, right? Generally elements, so many elements are discovered. In the periodic table, I will be talking in detail the story about it, right? These elements will combine this particular combination that is called as chemical combination or chemical reaction. In the last class we studied what is chemical reaction. Two or more elements or compounds will combine to form a new substance. That new substance is called as a product. The substances that participate is called as a element. For example, if you take hydrogen, what is the symbol of hydrogen? H. This represents what? Atom of an element. If you take atom of an element, it is represented as H. Generally, H does not exist in the nature. It exists in the form of H2. Is called as molecule of a substance. Now the question is, what is the difference between atom and molecule? So molecule will have, main difference between atom and molecule is, molecule will have independent existence. Any substance capable of independent existence is called as a molecule. Remember, what is an atom? Atom does not exist independently. Does not exist independently. Right? That is a very important concept. The molecule, Dalton considered them as cluster of atoms. So later it was defined that what is the molecule? Molecule is the smallest particle of a substance, maybe element or maybe compound, which is capable of independent existence, is called as a molecule. You can open your notebook and write the definition, basic definitions of the molecule. The smallest particle, the smallest particle, the smallest particle of a substance, the smallest particle of a substance. Before we define what is a compound, we learn basic things. The smallest particle of a substance may be element, or maybe compound. We'll define compound it later. Before that, you understand what is molecule. The smallest particle of a substance may be element or compound which is capable of independent existence. Write the correct definition. Which is capable of independent existence. Today live chat is not available. There is some technical issue. No problem. You can chat in the group later. You can ask your doubts. Which is capable of independent existence. Which is capable of independent existence is called. Which is capable of independent existence is called molecule. Very important. Molecule. See, these molecule capable of independent existence. Oxygen does not exist in the nature as O. We are breathing because of oxygen. In the atmosphere, oxygen is not present in the form of the O. That particular O does not exist in the nature. How it exists? It exists as O2. It is a diatomic molecule. And these are called as elementary molecules. These molecules are classified into, understand correctly, note down definitions in your textbooks. So some of the definition will not be clear. Clearly understand what is a molecule. Molecules are classified into two types. One is called as elementary molecules, compound molecules. Molecules of a compound, molecules of the element. Elementary molecules and compound molecules. Note down, I am teaching you in depth compound molecules. That is going to help you later in 11th standard. Compound molecule. Step by step, in depth, in detail, I will teach you. Right? Half knowledge is always dangerous. Try to take a complete knowledge of basic things. First of all, understand the difference between atom and molecule. ನಾ ಅಟಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಅಟಮ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಮೊಲೆಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೇನ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಮಾಲೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್, ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸಣ್ಣ ಕಣ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಅದು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಬಲ್ ಆಫ್, ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ capable of independent existence is the keyword. Underline the keyword. Smallest particle of a substance which is capable of independent existence. Very important. And what are elementary molecules? See, molecules of the element. For example, the oxygen molecule exists as O2. Hydrogen molecule exists as S2. Chlorine molecule exists as Cl2. Are you getting me? Bromine molecule exists as Br2. Always whenever you are writing equations, formula of molecules, not the atoms, O does not exist, H does not exist, Cl does not exist independently, Br does not exist independently. They exist as O2, S2, Cl2, Br2, I2, even N2. Like this, the particular elementary molecules, these are called as elementary molecules. These elementary molecules are classified depending upon how many atoms will combine. Now, as the two atoms of oxygen combine to form a molecule, all of them are called as diatomic molecules. What they are called as? Diatomic molecules. These are elementary molecules. They are diatomic molecules. And if I take O3, you know, O3 is ozone. Getting me? Ozone. One molecule of ozone present in the upper layers of the stratosphere. You must be knowing about ozone. It is present in the upper layer of the atmosphere and protecting us from harmful ultraviolet radiations having shorter wavelength. Ozone. And it is a triatomic. Observe. Triatomic. It is a triatomic. And if I take a phosphorus exists as P4. What is atomic? This particular number of atoms present in a molecule is called as atomicity. Remember another keyword. What is atomicity? Atomicity is number of atoms that form that are present in a number of atoms that are present in an elementary molecule is called as atomicity. We will define it little later. You take examples first. Phosphorus P4 is tetraatomic. Please don't watch it. Join the live stream at the same time. That will develop a particular contact. Even in a chat box you can chat, but today there is a technical error. Otherwise I will open the chat box. You can chat there, answer my questions. I'll give some questions and give some time so that it will be an interactive session, right? I cannot talk to walls. I can only talk to students. So today there is a technical problem. Therefore chat box is not open. And tetraatomic, I am the teacher who likes interaction from the students, right? You join in the live stream, don't watch the video later, join the live stream and go on giving comments in the chat box. I will watch the chat box. Today there is technical issue, even power problem is also there. Tetraatomic, it is a tetraatomic. Okay, and if I take sulfur is a octatomic. Octatomic means what? One molecule of sulfur can form 8 atoms. 8 atoms of sulfur can join together and form what? Elementary molecule. It is octatomic, tetraatomic, triatomic, diatomic. You know, all the inert gases. All inert gases, very important you remember. All inert gases. You know the names of the inert gases: helium, neon, argon, krypton, right? Radon, xenon and radon. All these are inert gases, are monoatomic gases. Remember monoatomic gases. Remember in chemistry mono stands for one. Mono stands for mono andre one. Di ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಬಂದಿತ್ತಂದ್ರ 2, ಟ್ರೈ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿತ್ತಂದ್ರ 3, ಟೆಟ್ರಾ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿತ್ತಂದ್ರ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋರಿ 4, ಪೆಂಟಾ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿತ್ತಂದ್ರ 5. ಪೆಂಟಾ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ 5. ಹೆಕ್ಸಾ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ 6. ಆಕ್ಟಾ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿತ್ತಂದ್ರ 8. ಹೆಪ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ 7. Like you in geometry you said no, hectagon, octagon, nanogon, right? So these are the prefixes generally we are using while naming. They are all diatomic. Di stands for 2 because 2 atoms will form one molecule. These are all elementary molecules, right? Elementary molecules are the right. Elementary molecules are the molecules of the element, right? So these elementary molecules will have different atomicity. Very important word, atomicity. You can define atomicity. Open the notebook. Use whenever you learn any class in science. Keep your notebook and pen open and note down whatever. Jot down important points, particularly definitions clearly, and some extra information also I am giving so that I can cover all Icse, Cbse and state. If you get some extra knowledge, it is not a problem. If your knowledge is less than the requirement, then it is a problem. Therefore basic knowledge is very important. Atomicity, I will be teaching you little bit more deep so that in the 11th standard you feel more comfortable, right? Atomicity, right? The number of define the number of atoms of an element, the number of atoms of an element, the number of atoms of an element that combine, the number of atoms of an element that combine to form an elementary molecule. Atomicity is related to elementary molecules only. An elementary molecule. This is very important concept. You remember, my dear student, E is called as atomicity. Note down correctly. E is called atomicity. ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ? ಅಟೋಮಿಸಿಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರ ಒಂದು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟರಿ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಒಳಗ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವು, ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೇನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರ? ಅಟೋಮಿಸಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರ. ಒಂದ್ ಅಟಮ್ ಇದ್ರ ಆಲ್ ಇನರ್ಟ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸಸ್, ಒನ್ ಅಟಮ್ ಇದ್ರ ಅವಕ್ಕೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ಮೋನೋ ಅಟೋಮಿಕ್. ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, ಎರಡು ಅಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರ ಡೈ ಅಟೋಮಿಕ್, ಮೂರ್ ಅಟಮ್ಸ್ ಒಂದ್ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವು ಅಂದ್ರ ಟ್ರೈ ಅಟೋಮಿಕ್, ನಾಲ್ಕು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವು ಅಂದ್ರ ಟೆಟ್ರಾ ಅಟೋಮಿಕ್, 8 ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವು ಅಂದ್ರ ಆಕ್ಟಾ ಅಟೋಮಿಕ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಕನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಟೋಮಿಸಿಟಿ. Because they exist independently in that form only. They are called as elementary molecules. Today, we are interested in studying our second step in the language. What is the second step in the language? Writing the formula of the compound. Right? So, today topic is writing the compound formula of the compound. Right? Therefore, we will come to the definition of a compound first. Now, question is, why compounds are formed? What is that? Why compounds are formed? Compounds are formed by, we say that by chemical combination of two or more elements in a definite proportion by mass. ಏನಂಗಂದ್ರೆ ಎರಡು ಅಥವಾ ಎರಡಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದು ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಕಾಂಬಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. Guarantee. Then only you can expect the matter, right? This matter is classified into elements. You understood about element now. The first part in the language, or it is the alphabets. I hope all of you are perfect in alphabets. That is the first step. Now we are going to learn the second part today. That is how to make the words. Words means you have to combine words. Second step. Words means formula of the compound. Formula. Before learning the formula, we have to understand what is the meaning of a compound. Compound is a pure substance. What is a compound? Compound is a pure substance. For example, H2O. Some of the compounds, popular compounds, you know. We are drinking water, H2O. What it represents? This represents a compound. There are two types of molecules. One is elementary molecule, another one is compound molecule. H2O is a compound molecule. Compound molecule means one molecule, the smallest particle of the water, is represented by H2O. This particular symbol H2O represents a molecular formula, or it represents a molecular formula of the compound. One molecule and molecular formula. Formula of one molecule of a particular substance is called as molecular formula. Similarly, you know, some of the compounds already you come across. What is the name of this? This is carbon. See, simple compounds. Carbon dioxide. This is water. Now, the question is, why we should write the formula of a compound as a CO2 only? Why we should write the formula of the compound as H2 only? And you know, right? Can you name this compound? HCl. You know that it is an acid. This is carbon dioxide. Some of the compounds, you know, carbon dioxide. Simple compounds, many students write, but many students fear of more complicated. They have got fear of writing more complicated compounds. Simple compounds, you know. Complicated compounds, how they should be written, that is the second part. That will help you. Second part of learning the language. This is very, very important language. If you learn writing formula of a compound, given the formula, you should write the symbol of it. Given the symbol, you should write the name of it. These vice versa processes. And very, very important, naming them, right? Given the compound, naming them, and given the name, right? Given the formula of a compound, there are two opposite processes. Given formula, it should be in a position to what? Write its name, right? If given name, you should be in a position to write the formula. If you are perfect in this level, your 80% or 90% of problems in chemistry will be solved, my dear students. Take it seriously, whatever I am telling you. I am going to teach in this period or 1 or 2 periods on only on writing the formula. Now, what must have happened to form water molecule? This Mr. Hydrogen and Mr. Oxygen, both of them must have combined chemically. That combination of this particular molecule of water means 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom combined to form molecular formula. During combination, right? Both of them will exhibit their valency. Very, very important concept. Right? You must know about valency. Valency comes in the chemical reaction. Whenever chemical reaction takes place, yesterday we told very simple definition of chemical reaction. Today I am giving you more meaningful definition of the chemical reaction. What actually happens in the chemical reaction, I am going to explain you. I am going to clear this concept. So basic, very primary level understanding of the chemical reaction is 2 or more substances chemically combined to form a different substance, right? If the substance does not change, then it is a physical change. If the substance changes to another substance, then it is called as a chemical change. That chemical change itself is called as a chemical reaction. What must have happened? Generally, every element will have this particular term. ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ valency. Valency ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ? Valency ಅಂದ್ರೆ hydrogen ಗೆ ಒಂದು capacity ಇರ್ತದೆ to combine. Oxygen will have a capacity to combine. This capacity of an atom to combine with other atoms is called as combining capacity. You can define what valency is. The combining capacity. The combining capacity. The combining capacity. The combining capacity of an element combining capacity of an element is called right valency. Is called valency. It is a very detailed story. I will not go to much details as you are in the class 10, right? This combining capacity, what is the meaning of combining capacity? How do they combine? Generally, in modern terms, so what we say that this particular hydrogen is generally on the left side of the periodic table. See, in the periodic table elements, hydrogen is present in the first group, extreme left. Oxygen is present on the right side. Remember, the elements on the right side, most of the metals are present on the left side of the periodic table, and the non-metals are present in the right side of the periodic table. Non-metals. See, these elements are further classified. I forgot to tell you, these elements are further classified into metals and non-metals. Broadly classified. All 118 elements are broadly classified into metals and non-metals. You know what is a metal? What is the difference between metal and non-metal? So the metal generally have shiny luster. The elements which are having shiny luster, and generally non-metals do not have this, do not have shiny luster. You can mark the differences. Later in metals and non-metals you will be learning. Do not have shiny luster. As I am talking about these elements, I will talk more things at the same time. They have shiny luster, they do not have shiny luster. Except graphite and diamond. Sorry, graphite and iodine. You know, iodine having symbol I2. It is exceptionally having shiny luster, and allotropic forms of carbon, that is graphite, is having shiny luster. You are using for the leads of your pencil, using in a geometry box, will contain what? Will contain this particular Graphite is an allotropic form. And the second thing is that they can be made into wires and they can be made into thin sheets. Can any one of you tell me thin sheets? Right? This particular property of the metals to be made into thin sheets is called as a ductility. What it is called as? Ductility. The property of the metal to be made into thin sheets is called as malleability. What it is called as? Malleability. Malleability. All the elements on the extreme right, that is oxygen, sulfur, chlorine, bromine, iodine, right? All of them. Okay, there the power is almost gone, my dear students. We will close the class today at this stage. So tomorrow the same session will be repeated. I am sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, goodbye. Thank you.